Well, hello everybody. Thank you so much for joining me for another exciting stream, and I have a special guest tonight. Brandon, why don't you go ahead and say hello to everybody? You're you're more than a special guest. You were like a deluxe guest. Yeah, yeah. Um, I mean, I'm sure we could work something out here after we get out off the. We'll talk about we'll hammer out the details later. But yes, we are going to be doing some artwork live for Corpse War. I think what we agreed upon was to do a poster of some kind, and I think that should be a pretty awesome thing. Now, what I was thinking, um, you had a few prompts or ideas to go with, and if we get enough people in here, it might be fun to maybe have the audience help us decide. Oh, dude, I'm sorry. I totally forgot to get it back up. Yes. Spoiler alert. Yeah. Oh, okay. Let me. I'm gonna. Yeah, I'll tweak some audio setting. Yep. Try speaking now. Oh, just a second. Let me just change a thing around here because for whatever reason, my desktop audio is not capturing. Woohoo! Okay. Why don't you go ahead and try saying something
All
now?
right.
Okay.
Better, better? Hello, hello?
A lot better actually.
Okay.
I'm
Very
actually
good,
getting
very good.
levels for you now. Good. I know what
All
I'm
right, so
doing.
yeah,
I swear.
what I was saying is that I wrote a book called The Corpse War 1793, in case you're not familiar. That's speaking to the audience, obviously. Kyle's familiar. The entire shtick is that it is a zombie outbreak in 18th century England. And minor spoiler alert, but the end of the book features a battle. There's a very large, like think the way that I always describe it is the Battle of Yonkers from World War Z, but 18th century. So if you know World War Z, that's like when like the American military rocks up with all their heaviest equipment. They got the tanks and they got the rockets and helicopters, and they're like, right, we're gonna stop the zombies here and now. And it doesn't really go so hot for them. Things go a little bit differently in my book, but it's a big set piece battle. Everything that the 18th century has to offer versus an undead horde. And so Kyle did all of the artwork for this book. Maybe we can show, or I don't, maybe not on your the way you have your stream set up right now. But
I can
if you
actually
follow the link in the
open.
description,
I'll
oh,
I'll
okay,
pull some
well,
up
yeah.
here.
So
Yeah, let me just
yeah,
get
we
this
can
out of the
show
way.
some of the other pieces that you did for it. But he did like a lot of the interior artwork that were all done as charcoal sketches. He actually did most of them by hand. Charcoal sketches that looked as if they were done by the veteran of that war who's writing the book about his experiences, right? So what we're thinking about doing now is more of a traditional like digital artwork poster design of something relating to, I was thinking, that final big battle. And the long story short there as well is that there is a moment in that battle, what I'd like to see maybe, is basically when the artillery batteries are falling, there are like the undead are overrunning them, and then all of a sudden a heavy brigade comes up with like British grenadiers and pioneers and also a bunch of civilians who had like volunteered to fight with the army with basically like just shovels and pickaxes and like scythes that were fashioned into spears. Basically, like a bunch of medieval levies joined in the fight with whatever they happen to have, like, their own like personal firearms, stuff like that. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
and there's some of the artwork that you did.
Yep. Did the main character. I did this. I did quite a lot. It was a lot of fun, and this is probably one of the
Yeah.
favorite. This is one of my favorite art projects I've ever worked on. And I got to learn a lot too. Like, I got to learn how to work with charcoal a little more in the medium as I went on with it, um, and learned how a lot
Yeah,
of
I,
these
I could
pieces
definitely
were composed.
tell, like, as we went through different pieces, that your familiarity with, like, the concept matter, the 18th century, like, uniforms and the styles, it got a lot better as you went along, as well as just the outright, like, skills with the charcoal pencils. Like, I love that piece right there. I think you
Oh,
really
thank
got
you,
the silhouette just, like, right down.
thank you, thank you. And I did the. This is the full Bayonet image that you see on the back cover. And while we've been talking, I'm just
And
drawing.
that's me, I guess.
That's Brandon. Yeah. All right. So
I'll become a VTuber yet.
yes. I'm gonna save this one. Hold on. Oh, we don't want to do that. Hold on. There we go. Okay. So first off, we need to decide what kind of proportions we want to work with for the poster, because if we're doing like a poster that's like an in-universe thing,
Mhm.
um, what dimensions would they have had back then?
Oh God, something like that. I have no idea.
Trade.
So
Probably
I'll
similar to what we have now, I would
say
imagine.
I just think that, like,
But what?
yeah, just like
You're breaking up a little
an
bit there,
18
champ.
by 24 type size, something like that would
Okay.
probably be just like the most functional. I feel like that's the most standard. Um,
18 by 24. Okay.
and it gives some flexibility.
Yeah.
Oh no, my
You.
internet's horrible.
It's okay. It's okay. I can hear you again. Okay.
How about
So
now? Am I back?
you're back. You're back. You've been back. I don't know how much of a delay we have, but all right.
Oh, that's a real delay because you're responding about 3 seconds after I spoke all that.
Oh boy. Do you want to like restart the call?
I will leave in the.
Oh, we lost him again. He's gonna leave and rejoin, I guess.
Okay, maybe it's better now.
Okay. I can hear you again.
Okay, good. Yeah, no, back when my internet connection first died is when I was saying all of
Oh god, we lost him
silence,
again.
and then you started responding saying, "Hey, no, like don't worry, I can hear you." Oh,
He's coming through a little bit here. Oh,
you
my.
lost me again.
That's okay. That's okay. My bit rate's also a little high in this stream, so I'm gonna turn that down a little bit while we're at this. This is why we iron things out before we get into the nitty gritty. Um, I would have gotten all this stuff worked out before we actually started streaming today, guys. But I've had a bit of a busy day today. So we're just I'm a bad streamer.
You're the best streamer. Okay, are we back?
You sounded pretty broken up there for a second, but I think you're back. Also, thank you, Jack Monday, for the £4.99. Cannot wait to read this. I'm thinking of writing a novel myself about an American who joins the French Foreign Legion and fights in World War I's worst battles. That would be very interesting. That would be very interesting. Let's see. And we have a question for you, Brandon. If the book does well, do you think you'll write more historical fiction?
Aha. So assuming that you can hear me again, yes, absolutely. In fact, the book has already done pretty well, and it doesn't seem to have any signs of slowing down. So, or more corpse war content, but also just like general, a lot of other settings. I'll just say that, like a lot of different time periods and a lot of different conceits, some more fantastical than others. It won't all just be zombies. Yeah, there's a lot of fiction work in my future, I think.
Alrighty. So, we've got a good template ready to go. This is 18 by 24. And
Although, well, here's another good question: is should we do vertical or horizontal? The way that I was sort of thinking at first is if we do something more horizontal, that allows for a very wide scope of like the overall battlefield, so to
sure.
say.
Yeah.
Like we can have something going on in the foreground, and then like further off to the left or whatever, it could be like a whole other scene in the far distance. Like if on, you know, if we're mainly focusing on, like the grenadiers charging into the overrun, overwhelmed artillery position, then like off to the side in the distance, we can see like the smoking, like a distant bastion firing artillery pieces or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that, right?
yeah. So, I'm thinking, so if we have the grenadiers, here are the boys, here's a, bears and calves. I'm just kind of drawing this out as blobs. They'd be charging in
Yeah,
probably shoulder to shoulder like this, I would assume.
yeah. Nice
Okay.
and close, tight order.
Yeah. All right. Guns up. And let's see. We have the battlefield here, and then are they coming down a hill at them, or is it like a straight across thing?
So it's more of a straight across thing. They're coming on like from the rear of the battlefield. And they're sort of like, sorry, I'm making this more complicated. Yeah, they're coming from straight on.
Okay. Okay. So if they're
It's a
kind
very
of
flat field where they're fighting.
okay, but then we can have a bastion up here. I don't know how the bastions were what, like 15, 20 feet tall.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay. So we have the bastion up here, maybe a gun sticking out of it. It's all very rudimentary, of course, but so here are the boys coming in, going about yay direction. And he'll have another. Yeah. In the Bastion, you wouldn't
I
really see
wonder
too many.
if
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say I wonder though with so we definitely want the zombies to like feature just as much, if not even more so, as like the grenadiers, I think, in a piece like this. Emphasize like the fiction element to it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm almost wondering if instead of having them beginning the charge and showing that, it could be the actual melee combats. We could have a lot of dynamic poses and um
Yeah.
like hold on, let me see here.
And you know what, actually, that could work really well because that not only, like you said, can it be much more dynamic as far as men are like a little bit more broken up, the formation isn't quite so strong and everything, but in the book, not only do the grenadiers advance, but behind them are coming, like I said earlier, those pioneers and those civilians with like giant axes
Right.
and shovels and things. And the way that they're fighting is in a very like new kind of way because obviously it's not just in modern infantry or in early modern infantry combat it's more just hey, if you can stick the guy with the bayonet then you pretty much got it, you win. But the zombies don't just die in my book
You gotta
when
mash them
you
up a
kill the
little.
head. You have to mash them up into pieces, yeah. And so there's a lot of like one guy like pins a zombie to the ground with his bayonet, and then another one comes up with an axe and starts hacking away at him, and there's another guy with a shovel doing the same thing. Like it's a very brutal, very, very physical kind of thing. Because obviously, in most early modern combat, when a bayonet charge happens, it's very rare that the bayonets even actually connect because one side usually breaks and runs away because, as it turns out, bayonet combat's really scary. Zombies don't get afraid though; they just keep on going at you.
I'm almost envisioning something kind of like. Hold on a second. Actually, let me just instead of I'm gonna make a new canvas here. We'll do 24 by 18 because I rotated the canvas, but it's going to still display things vertically. Whatever. Something like this. This sort of calamity. So like it would have
Yeah,
you would have a guy pinning with a bayonet, like you got a bayonet guy here, But then maybe you'd have a pioneer with an axe raised over his head, like he's about to bring it down on him. And it won't literally be this
Actually,
pose or
here.
anything, but um,
Yeah. No, here. I'm gonna send you an image on Discord here of Spanish troops at the Battle of Pensacola. That might also be like a good bit
ooh,
of inspiration for like
yeah,
framing wise. Maybe like, and because it's gonna be more of a horizontal piece. Yeah, we can have like on the right hand side is that, but then on the left is like the undead horde rushing in. Let's see here. I know for a fact that I've seen like artwork that almost has like a little bit of a bubble effect because it's like two sides charging against one another, but you can sort of see both of them like kind of from the front. And I wonder if something like that could work out.
because what I'm
Because then like in
thinking,
the center we can have yeah like one zombie being pinned to the ground with a bayonet and a guy with an axe coming in and everything. And then on either side we have like the larger forces rushing in like
yeah,
head first.
like it's almost like a peak. I noticed a lot of these old paintings, um, especially like 18th century setting. There's a lot of like shots of a guy on the peak of something, like on a piece of rubble or something, and he's like cheering or like leading men along, or like in the middle of melee as like a big centerpiece. If that makes sense, I don't really know how to
Yeah, well, I
describe it,
mean,
but
there's always room for an officer like twirling a sword, charging in from the front kind of
yeah,
deal.
yeah,
And then there are if you have the map on hand as well of the battlefield, like the place where the zombies are breaking through, there are infantry redoubts and like long trench lines on either
yep,
side. So there's a lot of guys like that are on elevated heights that were observing this when it happens.
right.
Yeah, so like
These guys
it's
down
the
here.
first yeah, so the two lines that are in between the bastions, that's basically where the heavy brigade is, and they're charging straight forward to where the that first line of artillery is on the far left.
Okay, over here.
Yeah, so the two
Gotcha.
lines that are directly across from them, you see like bastion, two infantry lines, bastion. Those two lines are the heavy brigade, and they charge directly forward to where the artillery guns are.
Gotcha.
So there are infantry then to the left and the right that are observing this whole thing happen.
Okay. Now, as far as the style goes for this, um, if this is supposed to be like an in-universe poster, I almost want to say maybe it should be like in a like a crossed hash engraving style.
What does that mean?
So, okay. Uh, Now, if you want it in color, we can certainly do that. It's just this would be, if it would be so kind as to load for me. So back in the day, if you wanted to print something in a newspaper, you had to make what is called an engraving on clay. And in order to get shading and whatnot, this might actually be a pencil sketch. But what you would do is, in order to create darkness, you would create little cuts with a
Oh,
knife,
oh,
and that
I
would be
yeah, okay, I see what you mean. Well, to the question of color, then I would say, well, let me see here. We can still have that old school style, and what they would often do then is
they
they
would
would
color
bring
over them.
color later on. Yeah, they'd color over top of it. Here I posted one there.
Here's a good
Whilst the massacre
example.
style. Yeah, 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 exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Hold
And
on.
like that kind of framing could work pretty well. I like make the figures larger and like more detailed, I think. But
Okay.
that kind of framing of the two sides like charging in
Yeah.
could be pretty good. And then in the background we have like the wider battle continuing to rage. We have men firing off of the they have men like firing down the ramparts. There's the bastion firing artillery over. Sort of like what that piece that you did for the one chapter. I'm stumbling over my words again.
You're good.
The one that I really love, where it's all the infantrymen like stabbing down from like the mound of dirt that they're on
Oh yeah
into
yeah
the
yeah
zombies
yeah.
that are charging up. Like that's going on in the background while the grenadiers are charging in the foreground.
I see. Okay. Okay. Um. Yeah, we could definitely do something like that. Let me just think of how I want to block this out, because getting the blocking down is like the big thing for something
Yeah.
like this. All right, this is the one. All right, so what we're gonna do is and this is probably not going to be something we can finish in one setting. I'm just saying that right now, guys. But
Yeah, that's fair.
this could make out an opportunity for some awesome subsequent events. And did
Yeah,
my
and if anyone in the chat like has particular suggestions or ideas, or you say like, "Hey, I think that this idea is dumb," like, "Hey, let us
yeah,
know." You know,
please,
we can. This can be interactive,
yeah, yeah, we can. This can be a collaborative effort from everybody here, guiding my hand.
so long as we approve. The collaboration is not democratic.
Right, right. All right. So I'm thinking we have the zombie horde coming from the bottom left, and like kind of wrapping, because it's almost like they're the way they work and run is that they overwhelm and go around the sides, and they're like you say, it's a wave.
Yeah, it's the flesh tide is how it's referred to.
Yes,
It's just like this great big mass that's washing itself over every possible like opening and gap in an individual line.
gotcha. And this would be the actual horizon itself, right? So we'll have mountains up here. We could have the back of the bastion, or the front of the bastion, I would say, because this is beyond the lines.
Yeah.
And then the grenadiers would have come down this way. Melee's right in here. And then we could have other people like coming in back here or so.
Yeah, so I think do you think that we can like zoom the whole thing in more to where we'll be able to see more detail on an individual central figure that's
Yes.
doing something really neat, sort of like in that World War One piece that you have. Like the one guy is really like they're very big, right? There's
Yeah.
a large central figure with the bayoneting, and then everything is happening around that.
Yeah. I got you. Yeah, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna use the same blocking, and I'm gonna just start kind of sketching in. Let me just get some references pulled up. Bayonet posing.
Let me know if there's any like anything in particular that I can send your way, like for the time period.
Okay.
In fact, I'm
17.
just going to post a couple of 1790s soldiers for you to
Perfect.
have just on hand.
Perfect.
There are some, like for grenadiers, for example, there's like some minor points of concern.
Did they have? They just had the short land patterns at this point, right?
Yeah.
Okay. By this point, were they still actually
So there
lobbing
are some
grenades?
grenadiers.
Okay. Okay.
Oh yeah, no, not at all.
Okay.
Grenadier is purely an honorific.
Yeah.
I actually, honestly, I could have gotten away with giving them grenades in this battle because it is kind of like a siege, but I didn't write it in that they brought any with them. To be fair, they didn't really know what they were dealing with, so like, why would you prepare
Yeah.
for? You know, they didn't know what to prepare for. But in the sequel, there's going to be plenty of grenade action.
Now this is just from my own knowledge, sense, but were they trained? Like were I know grenades were used in like sieges and whatnot, like, as you mentioned, but like what was the training like for that? Was it a universal thing that every
I mean,
guy was just given like
so
a background in, or?
like, well, by this point in time, again, like grenades are such a niche tool; they're not being used like in the field. I'm pretty sure that like grenade drill wasn't really a thing. It was just, hey, you light the fuse and you throw the thing, and like you roll it down the ramparts or whatever.
Yeah.
But because it's such a situational tool, it's very rare that a specific kind of soldier is dedicatedly using them. And so it wouldn't really be Yeah, like a grenadier's time in drill would be spent basically the exact same way that any other soldiers would be. The grenadiers were just like veteran soldiers who were considered to be stronger and more courageous. You know, like
Yeah.
it was an honorary posting to be one of the grenadiers as opposed to just a plain old hat man or a battalion man.
Right.
Same thing with the light infantry. The light infantry were the light infantry actually had a very specific, different kind of drill because they were fighting in like a skirmishing order. But you know, same thing. Like it was considered an honor to be a light infantryman as opposed to just a standard line guy.
Yeah, yeah. I see what you're saying.
We got Laser Pig in the chat. Hot smoky man on grenade action.
Oh boy.
I mean, I guess if you throw yourself onto the grenade to stop it from getting your buddies, that could be described that way, I guess.
Oh dear. How you doing, LP? And I can move this around and adjust it as needed, but all right. So what I'm thinking is central guy. He's got his boot on the chest of the undead, and he's bringing his bayonet down on it.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty good. It reminds me of there's a really interesting memorial slash like very triumphalist imperial statue in the National Army Museum in London. Not and it was a statue that I don't, it was brought inside because it was deemed a little bit like maybe not really in line with how we want to be portraying our army these
Yeah,
days.
yeah, yeah,
But it
yeah.
was very Victorian, and it's basically like that. It's like this Victorian officer with like basically trampling over top of like an Afghan warrior who's all like gnarled and old and
Oh
you know
man.
barbaric looking, and like the Afghan is like pulling out a dagger to like hit his leg or something in this like backhanded, you know, savage traitorous kind of move. Meanwhile, the officer like has a saber in one hand and a pistol pointing forward, like he's a flippin' 40K commissar, and he's all like, you know, rugged Chad like, and it's like, man, this is something. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from here. Is
Yeah,
like, get down, you know, filthy barbarian. We're gonna, you know, proper Englishman's gonna bayonet you
you
here.
godless heathen. This is gonna actually get very funny thing I'm doing right now, but this pose kind of reminds me of this, and this might not actually be
Yeah.
a bad reference.
No, it's not. It's really not.
Um, oh no, Laserpig said watching two guys talk about a period of history I only know via the medium of the Sharp TV show.
Yeah, it's that's like a stab to the heart, but we don't. It's all right. That's fine. It's cool.
I
It's
mean,
fine.
hey, Sharp is cool.
Yeah, sure. He's all right. It has its moments. It also has its moments.
I understand.
It's not like it's not the Patriot or Napoleon. I'll put it that way.
It's not like offensive.
It well, not always.
Yeah,
There's one or two things.
I understand. I understand. All right, so we're gonna get this guy up here. He's gonna have this arm up like that. Getting the posing down is like half of the battle here, because you know if you
Yeah.
can get the pose good, you're set, gamer. Like you're
The benefit of the fact that these guys were like really not trained at all in like bayonet drill, because that's mainly a post-Napoleonic thing, is that really you can have them use the thing however just works, however seems to make sense, because other than the drill for how they would level the bayonet, there was very little, if any, like actual fencing practice being done,
that's
because
interesting.
it usually wasn't relevant.
I was not aware of that. It makes sense given the context that they never really, I mean, rarely actually got into contact.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll have this guy's hand out here. How does this guy's finger go? Oh, okay, okay. Just like that. He's coming down with a pike. I feel like it's got to be longer. Yeah, it can be longer. That came out weird.
Yeah, the actual musket is like,
They're like
God, how long
6 feet
are they
tall?
even? Not quite 6. It's more like 5 foot, like 4 maybe. Like I'm 5'7", and it reaches like about to my chin or my nose, I think, if I remember right. It's been a long time since I've held a musket. It's a shameful long time. And of course, grenadiers are meant to be taller, so if it's a little bit shorter in his hands, that works too.
Yeah,
But then the bayonet is about 18 inches long.
like the grenadiers are like the man among men stallion giga chads.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, there's his leg. I don't know, his leg just seems weird. Hold on. Okay, there's his calf. Comes down like that. Foot is facing forward. This comes back. Pelvic area here. Other leg comes back like that. That. Eh. Boot on the ground. Other hand. Zombie being, you know.
Being zombie-like.
I hate calling them zombies because they're really not.
Yeah, they're kind of their own thing. They are risen dead, but there's a lot that makes them unique from a lot of other like undead settings. Again, like
Yeah.
mainly the fact that they literally cannot be killed. So this whole like, because if it's like 28 days later or something, it makes sense. You take out the head and they're done because they're not anything like supernatural. It's a virus. It's a very human creation. Whereas this is it's not a virus. They're not infected people. They're not still alive. That they are literally walking corpses. And whatever the heck rose up the corpses from the grave doesn't really care about whether the brain is doing its thing because there's something supernatural about them.
And that leaves many opportunities for sequels to come down the line, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, yes, it does. Incidentally, actually, Trevin Lane, hello in the chat, just
Hey,
said,
Trevin.
one thing to keep in mind is that the buttocks of the rifle is almost as lethal as the bayonet. And that's actually a really common
Yes.
thing. What they do in the book is they're like, okay, so just because you stab the thing, it's still going to be coming at you. So we can't have everyone relying purely on bayonets. A very common thing that they do then is like the front guy will bayonet the zombie to like pin it into place, and then the other guys will club their muskets and bash into them with the musket butts to like take out their teeth and mush up the skull and all sorts of fun stuff.
It's a new kind of warfare,
Yeah.
to put it lightly. Alright, so I'm just going to make this guy smaller to kind of scale him a little better. Also, he's kind of a short stack, so I'm going to make his legs longer.
I wonder if yeah, like in the process of making the legs longer, if it's possible, like have him lean forward a smidge more, so that way it's like
Yeah.
he's like moving forward, like more momentum going
Yeah,
inward.
yeah. This is just a hard.
It also
angle.
helps to make the musket like proportions seem a little bit better. I think if he's a bit taller.
Yeah. This is a hard angle.
Yeah, it is.
I'll get it. I'll get it though.
It was your idea.
No, I know, and it's gonna look really badass when it's done. It's just a matter of jumping over the hurdles. I'm totally down for this.
It's a lot easier moving this stuff around when you're not doing it by hand, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely it is.
like by physical hand as opposed to digital hand.
Right. Okay, hold on a second. I'm gonna go get a physical reference real quick. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, hello everyone. It looks like it's the Brandon F hour here on Falcon's Fighter Tales. Aeroplanes, the zoomy boys up in the sky. What do we all think about them? They're pretty neat, huh? Yeah. Sometimes they have guns on them. Sometimes they have rockets on them, which personally I think is very noteworthy and important. Something that you may not know, actually, about modern aerial warfare is that quite literally all of modern stealth technology can actually be rendered completely useless by the use of grok with a cell phone camera.
Brandon, I swear to God.
Yeah,
I swear to
learned
God.
that No! Oh, hey, welcome back! I was just telling them what not to think.
Hello, everybody. I'm back. I
We have fun here.
literally just grabbed a GI Joe and I'm going to pose him as needed.
That makes the GI Joe a business expense.
Oh yeah, I mean, granted he was purchased like 20 some odd years ago, but okay, so ironically enough, little toy history, everybody. GI Joe posability was based on art reference mannequins, like those little like wooden um like you go to an art store, right? And you got these little like wooden like impressions of like little people that you can pose and like put into positions for art references for like drawing physical beings and whatnot. That was one of the big inspirations for the guy who invented GI Joes back in the '60s.
Huh.
So it's all
Did
coming
you know
full circle.
here's another little like a build off of that. I don't know if it like directly inspired like the modern idea of like miniatures and miniature wargaming and whatnot. I know that's very like German actually in origin, but back in like the 18th century, officers used to have like little toy soldiers on blocks. Like there are blocks of wood with pictures of soldiers like painted or drawn onto them, and they would use that to teach the basics to young officers of like, hey, here's how wheeling works, and here's when you're advancing by battalions across a defile, blah blah blah. Like they would use blocks to sort of get the basics across for these people. And sometimes you'll find like full sets of them in like little regimental museums that they have all laid out and whatnot. It's really cool.
Visual mediums are a great way to teach people things. Like it's probably the most effective
Yeah.
way to do so. Okay, so
That's why I love being able to have your artwork in the book to start with. Is just like being able to um, give like some sort of a visual grounding in what's going on can be so useful.
well, if a picture is worth 1,000 words, then you can expand the word count of your book 22,000 words.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, I just need my phone because I'm going to take a picture of this, and I'm actually going to just paint around it. That's what a lot of people do these days
Yeah,
with 3D models, especially. Okay, got to
yeah,
get my
makes
phone.
sense.
So, Brandon, I'm going to leave you in charge of the stream for another 10 seconds. Um, make good choices.
So let me tell you all about the USS Donald J. Trump class super battle mega carrier cruise missile launching platform. As I understand it, Laserpig is a very big fan of this design, primarily because it has a lot of room for ammunition. And of course, being able to take care of all of a sailor's basic, daily needs. Like, realistically, a sailor only needs about 18 inches of space or 30 inches, something like that, to hang up his hammock, and not much else besides. We waste a lot of space these days with like room for, we have to have like a cafe or whatever, and we have to have room for fuel, whatever that means. But like, ultimately, a lot of those things are just woke libtard in sort of fabrications that are getting us away from the real mission of the military, which is to launch really, really big explosives from far away. The thing about this class is it's going to allow us to be able to do that across all sorts of variable terrains.
Are you done?
Hi, welcome back.
This is why we
I'm
can
having a
never
great
start.
time.
This is why we can never start a podcast together.
This is exactly why we need a podcast together.
Actually, you're probably right. That would be pretty fun. All right, so I got the pose of the guy. He's in a World War I uniform, but don't judge me. Don't at me. Look, it's the only GI Joe I have that has an actual bayonet on it. Hold on, I'm gonna send
Yeah,
it. I'm gonna send it to you in Discord. Then I'm gonna copy the image and then put it into chat. So,
all
or
right.
not chat, into the art piece, and then I'll be able to use that as a reference.
Yeah, that'll work. Also, like, the overall framing of like an SMLE or whatever with a bayonet, like it's not that crazy different from a musket
It
as far
really
as
isn't.
proportions and
Yeah.
length and everything.
Okay, so we'll put this guy here. We'll put his boot right on there. And Okay, so it's going to be a slightly top
I mean,
down view.
Napoleonic ships of the lines had their sailors sleep in hammocks above the guns. Just have the men sleeping over top of the missile silos. Yeah, it's
Oh
fine.
yeah, yeah.
It'll be great.
Just put them in the VLSs. Like, how often are they actually going to be shooting those, right?
Yeah.
The VLS is the vertical launch system, by the way, Brandon. It's they're basically like a grid
Well,
of tubes driven down into the deck, and they launch missiles vertically, hence the term VLS. But if you
and
have the
look at it
guys
this
just
way:
chilling
if
there,
they're sleeping in the system itself, then how quickly are they going to be able to get there to actually reload it? You know, like otherwise, having to like extend a rammer all the way up above the missile tube, like that's really complicated. But if you're like literally inside of it by default, just have the rammers ready to go at all times. I'm assuming that this is how it functions.
um, not really. You reloading a VLS is something that normally is done back in port. Um, and it involves
Well, that doesn't sound very efficient at all. If you have to go back to port, you're only going to be able to get like one round every couple of days, as opposed it should be like 2 shots a minute for a proper battleship,
for a
right?
proper naval ship. Yeah, yeah, oh, yes, yes, of course, of course.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they're just gonna have to put a gun on it.
Oh no.
Oh no. You're gonna have to just put old school guns back on it. That's what everybody wants,
I did.
right?
Someone says in the
16-inch
chat, I didn't
guns.
know they also train sailors to be astronauts. See, that's what I'm talking about. We're multi-specking here. We're going back to the moon, don't you know?
Oh my goodness. Alright, so I'm just gonna get a brief look there. I'm just getting the shape of the guy down here, basically. Alright. Bayonet. That is a long bayonet. Okay. Um, trigger. Yeah, it's a little thinner than a Springfield. Okay. So while we do this, I'm just going to make some marks here for where the parts of his body are that need to move or be moved if needed be. Hell, that's
Incidentally,
practicing
those
right now.
puttees are actually about the same height as long gators, anyways. So that works pretty well.
Yeah, actually. Damn, he looks thick.
Yeah, grenadier. He should be.
Yeah, yeah. Just 6 foot tall, 250 pounds of meat.
Yeah, masculinity.
Hell yeah, dude.
Brr.
There were some really good Grenadier Guards at this event out in California I went to called Dickens Fair. It's supposed to be like a Victorian Christmas party, and
Ooh.
they had these dudes, marching with Queen Victoria coming down. They had the Pioneer with them and everything. They looked
Oh, that's
on
awesome.
fleek. You would have loved it. They wanted me to join, but like it's another impression, dude. And I was leaving California,
Yeah.
because I was there in my Royal Artilleryman uniform, and they're like, "How would you like to join the Grenadier Guards?" I'm like, "I would love to, gentlemen. That would be a dream come true. I don't want to buy a Snyder Enfield. I mean, I do, but like that's another gun I'd have to get.
Yeah.
It's a whole other impression, like a whole Crimean War era Grenadier Guard
Yeah.
getup. I love what you do, though. If you guys are watching, I love what you do.
I have a friend, Daryl Rivers, who does like a lot of reenactment stuff out in California. He mainly does like Rev War stuff out in California, but I believe he either also has or he's been putting it together, but like a Royal Wagoner train impression, like in the Crimean War. I think it's
Oh,
Wagoner train by then still. They may have a different name, but like the logistics guys, the transport guys,
yeah, yeah.
and how they really did not have a very good time in the Crimean War. But
I
it's
mean,
like
did
that
anybody
like
really?
that like really like that like simple sort of cut down coat that they had in the Crimean War, like a simple red tunic, single row of buttons, high collar, just really good look.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like if I ever had to do another, like I would love to get another Zulu War era red coat. I actually want to put that impression back together because I sold a bunch of my stuff. But any other Victorian or like 19th century thing I would love to do is a Crimean War impression. Like those bell shakos are just so awesome looking.
Yeah, yeah, they are. It's like there was a time from like 1820 something or other, yeah, to like to the mid 1850s that Shakos just like went they just went crazy with
Oh, they
them.
were
Some of
awesome.
them got really wild in their shape. It's like what are we preparing for here? What is this meant to do?
Yeah, yeah. It's a well, you take it off your head, you put it on the ground, and use it for balancing your rifle on.
Actual legit military history question. What's the earliest point that railways made a substantial difference in military operations? Anything before the Crimean War? I don't know that there's any.
I don't think there would have
I
been
mean, obviously, I'm
anything.
only familiar with British history. It
I
was
mean,
massive in the American Civil War, obviously.
yeah,
Um,
I would say the Crimea because
yeah, there probably is in the Crimean War.
yeah, because the British had steam engines and whatnot by the 1840s, 30s.
Yeah. But even then, like that's more domestic as opposed to like being used
Right,
like to
right.
haul supplies to a front line kind of deal, like to actually like mobilize large numbers of soldiers. Um,
Yeah, I feel like they would be like supplemental logistics at that point. You know, they wouldn't be like the primary mode of
yeah,
transportation, but they probably had some influence.
the the Second Boer War made use of railways, like both in the logistics train and in actual like frontline combat, very very heavily.
Yeah.
Again, the American Civil War had a bunch of it. I don't know of any like major conflicts before the American Civil War that like really, really heavily featured railways like that. Oh, that's a good looking shape for the bearskin.
Oh, thank you. All right, he's got a plume off on this side here. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna look sick. All right, let's get the rough details of his face in here. Hold on, let me pull up a reference for a Grenadier Guardsman's face.
They had plans for a steam tank, but it never went anywhere. Oh, that's tragic.
Oh yeah, yeah, they built two of them actually.
Huh. Maybe somewhat expansions to the western frontier. It's not entirely military. Yeah, no, like there's other like smaller stuff like that. Although even then, that's like in the United States, that's largely after the Civil War.
Okay, here's a good facial reference. I'm tempted to actually
Naturally.
use this. I'm tempted to use this.
That's wonderful.
Unless you want something more period
I
appropriate,
think
like
something more vague, honestly. Like not like there shouldn't be too much detail in the face compared with a lot of the rest of it, you know? Like we
yeah,
want to feel a little almost generic.
right, right. This is why you label all of your layers,
I
guys.
appreciate Sir Liv's comment. He needs the biggest handlebar mustache, but in this particular time period, facial hair was a really big no-no in the British Isles. It was basically a sign that you were either very poor or very crazy. You will not find facial hair in like the British military, excepting for like a few Hussar regiments and whatnot, basically until like the early 19th century. And AKA, if you're an AWI or a Napoleonic reenactor, and you're especially if you're portraying like British infantry, you need to shave. I'm sorry, but it doesn't look good if you're not shaven.
That
That's
makes
all.
you a soy boy, Brandon.
Yeah, yeah. That's so they tell me.
Yeah, if you don't shave your yeah, if you shave your soy or something, who cares about historical
Now
accuracy?
there is a debate as far as what are they called? As far as pioneers were concerned, because we know that French pioneers often wouldn't shave. They typically sported like very large beards, in fact. But we only have like two or like it's very very few actual portrayals of British pioneers, and there's very little reference to them in like period content as far as how they would dress and how they would like how they behave and everything. So there's a possibility that they had facial hair, but we don't know for certain. I want to say that the typical view is that they probably wouldn't have. Um, It varies.
Yeah. How about sideburns though? When were those starting to show up? Like,
Sideburns, that's more of like a mid to late Napoleonic type thing, I think. We're talking like
okay.
1793 is still very much like it's very similar to the rest of the 18th century,
Yeah, yeah.
as I understand it, as far as style goes.
Yeah, before what's his name? That fashion designer in Britain decided to create the dandy and fucked everything up for the rest of eternity.
The great male renunciation. Oh God, what was his name? I should know it.
You know
What
who I'm
is his
talking
name?
about? Yeah.
Yeah, I know you're talking. Um, Gosh darn it.
Oh,
So I should know this.
Beau Brummel?
Br or yes, Beau Brummel. That
Brummel.
was him.
Yeah. I mean, I thought his drip was kind of out of this world, but you know.
Honestly, I like the like all black look
Oh yeah.
that was most common in men's fashion. I also love the old school stuff, but there's something very moderate and sober about the all black, simple outfits, all blue, all brown, nothing
Yeah.
too crazy
Yeah.
fancy.
Like I said, this is what happens when you don't label your layers and then you start drawing over things. Okay, that's fine. I'll just get rid of this one. Okay, sketch. Something like that. And I just deleted the reference. Awesome. We're on fire
No.
today, guys. Let me throw it back down here.
I feel like his head looks a little bit too large right now. Like maybe it's just like because the chin is like a little
Yeah, I could scale it
more
down. I think
meaty.
you're right.
Just like scale the whole head down itself, and the
Yeah,
rest will
yeah.
fall into place
Even
pretty
even the
well.
bearskin?
Uh,
Or
yeah, I think so.
okay. Okay. Let's see what we got here.
Military historic fiction question. What's the earliest you'd reckon militaries would stand a chance against an alien invasion? Well, that depends on the aliens, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But that being said, there is an amazing, like, old school, like, fantasy sci-fi novel called High Crusade, caught by, I think it's Paul Anderson. And the entire conceit is like the English armies are getting ready to go on crusade, but all of a sudden an alien spaceship lands. The aliens come out and start shooting with their laser guns, but the English fire back with their longbows. And because the aliens had been so technologically developed, all their force fields and everything would resist like lasers, but they were useless against arrows.
That's a
And
really
so,
cool idea.
yeah, the English shoot them with the longbows, kill the aliens. They take over the spaceship and they're like, what is this French trickery? Doesn't matter. We're going to fly to the Holy Land and liberate it from the Muslims. And so they try to punch in all the coordinates. They have no idea what they're doing. They wind up being flown back to the alien like home world
Oh
and then they go on
no.
crusade there. And the entire thing is written like as if it were a like a medieval epic history by a monk
Okay,
who's
this
like
is that's
accompanying the
really cool.
army. It's wonderful.
I'm gonna have to. I'll have to check that one out. If you can send me a link to that, that sounds
Yeah, for sure.
divine. Here we got his. Is that an ascot or is it a jabot?
Who? What now?
That neck thing is it
Oh,
a?
the yeah, so it basically, yeah, that's actually just the shirt. The shirt itself would have a
Oh,
frill that would poke through.
oh.
Usually they'd have like the top couple of buttons on the waistcoat like opened up to allow that to come through.
Okay, and then you'd have his stock around his neck, right? That's what they call him, the neck collar
Yeah.
thing. Okay.
Yeah, the black stock.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Usually either leather or horsehair in this time.
That makes sense. And with this
Why didn't they
dude,
try that in Dune? Guns don't work, but bows might. Yeah, really. That honestly, that actually makes a lot of sense because, like, I feel like you could have a crossbow be just slow enough to pierce through a shield pretty effectively. I guess that's sort of like the dart guns that they have.
huh? That is an interesting way to think about it. Yeah. fur coming over that. What would
Yeah,
they
I think
have
that
on the
framing looked
plate
a
there?
lot better. The Here, I can get you a zoom in on the
Okay.
plate.
I almost want to.
Technically, it would vary a little bit, like by regiment, but
Okay.
I can get one.
I don't know. Something about it, like.
And just go with a. It was basically the same like Aniswaki Malipans type pattern. Here we go.
Okay.
Oh, we're here actually. This one works better actually. The neck
Oh,
aspera to
perfect.
rent.
It's probably not going to be like
Little lion.
incredibly detailed, but like getting the basic shape
Yeah,
down
no,
and
just
everything.
have like yeah, like the basic like the ribbons around the outside and like a little like crown shape or something on the
Yeah,
entire
yeah.
interior. Very, very
Little lion
rudimentary.
on top. I mean, this is just a sketch. We're just getting the overall look of everything down. Like this is gonna be an awesome piece when it's all done, guys. Yeah, something like that, just to kind of give the impression that something's there.
Yeah.
This is gonna be all dark when I actually get to it, so I'll just kind of mark that. I mean, I know what they look like. Okay, let's get the rest of his uniform all sketched in there. He's gonna be the guy on the right. He's just like a he's enlist. Is that guy on the left like a sergeant? And then sorry,
Yeah, so in the picture
the one
well,
the
here there are
comparison
multiple.
the
The
uniform
first
reference for
image that
yeah.
is, yeah, of left and right. The left is an NCO, is a sergeant in that case, I
Okay,
believe. Or oh, no, that's an officer. Yeah, that's an officer. And then the guy on the right is a private. Yeah. So waistcoat that sort of ends at the waist, long tails that are coming down behind him. You
right.
can't really see the tails there too much, but you saw those in other pieces.
Yeah.
And then the two cross belts.
Yep. Okay.
Little bayonet or not bayonet, little match case on the one belt, although that's being covered up by the musket, so it doesn't matter here.
Okay. There'd be the bayonet frog on the left, I believe, because you draw across
Yes,
with your right and
correct. Yeah, the bayonet's on the
okay.
left. The cartridge pouch is on the right side.
Gotcha.
Which the cartridge pouch is basically just a like a box.
Yeah. Kind of like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And how far would the... Oh, I see where the tailcoats go. Okay. Have a little action here.
Billowing heroically.
Maybe not that one. And they could open those up and actually make them kind of like more of an overcoat, right?
Yeah, so what during like summertime, basically the tails of the coat would be sort of they had hooks and eyes on either side, so they would be closed into two long singular tails. And then during winter service, they could undo those hooks and the eyes to where it would be more of like a surround. Same thing with the lapels on the coat's front. They could unbutton both sides of the lapels and close the coat.
That's really cool.
Which it doesn't really do all that much to keep you warmer, but it's a little bit of a help.
Yeah.
Add like a watch coat or a watch cloak or a great coat on top of that, and it'd be pretty warm.
Okay. This is why I enjoy these chats with you, Brandon, because I always learn something.
That's what I do.
Yeah, it's not like you're a historian or anything. It's not like it's your
Now,
job
to
to
be fair,
educate me.
though, the last time we did a bit of content together, I don't think that either of us learned much at all from watching, what was it, P-51s versus Dragons,
Oh yeah,
or
if you guys
whatever it
haven't seen
was.
that video, it's oof. Oh boy.
It's a fun time.
It's a time. Um I learned a little bit more about what my patience tolerance is.
Yeah, I guess that's helpful. That's good.
Okay, here's that. Sweet. And you just would have a coat under, or a shirt under here that you can't really see. Okay. Okay. I think I've got the major bits of this guy figured out here. Why do his
Yeah,
legs look
it looks
so
pretty good.
short though? Hold on.
Something about the, yeah, like it's like the
I
proportion
think
or
it's
the angle of it is a bit funny.
yeah, it's like a perspective thing. You know
You
what?
could always
I might
take the
just I'm just gonna scale his legs up and move the zombie down. I think that might help it a lot.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's just like is take the torso, move it up, extend the legs a little bit,
Yeah.
and go from there.
This is my digital realm. I'll do with it as I please. All right, there we go. There we go. Yeah.
Allow for a little bit more detail on the zombie as well if he's a bit bigger. Make him all
Oh yeah.
gnarly looking.
Oh yeah. He's gonna look like hell. You know what? I'm not bothered by that one. A lot of this is just a matter of work in the process, and you know, it'll end
Yeah.
up looking a lot better when it's actually
It's
more
all bit by
developed.
bit.
Yeah, exactly. Um, that looks a little better.
Yeah, I think that looks more proportional now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then the zombie, he's gonna be having a bad time. All right. You know, it might be kind of cool to make the zombie headless, but I think that would be too gory to draw on YouTube.
Maybe, yeah, maybe that'll be for maybe a future session. But
Yeah.
having like half of his head sort of caved in and like cracked
Oh
open would be
yeah.
pretty good.
Oh yeah. Or like a cannonball bounced off the ground and took half of his head off just in this clean circle.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But
That
like,
looks
so
sick.
long as there's a mouth still chattering on there.
Yeah.
What you could even do is, you know what? Ooh, that one arm that's like a little crooked, the one on the left, have it
Yeah.
instead reaching up to grab onto the bayonet and like blood sort of like pouring down the hand as he does so.
Oh, should it actually be gripping the bayonet? I can do that.
It could be, or you know, heck, hell, have the bayonet going through the hand, just outright.
I love this.
Because the entire idea is that they are literally mindless, right? They are like, they're supernatural, effectively creatures that are driven only to reach flesh, to tear into it and bite it and just destroy it, right? They hate life. That's all they got going for them. So it's like, it's basically not even comprehending that the musket and the bayonet's there. It's just reaching up towards the guy with all of its force that it can muster.
And it's not even like
And
it
so
feels
it's natural,
pain.
yeah, that when he goes to stab, there's going to be a hand reaching up towards him, and it's just going to go right on through that thing.
All right, let's work out the
In this
fingers.
scenario, the Minecraft guy asks, would the military resort back to Renaissance ideas of armor and fighting, or would it mostly stay the same as our timeline? So the way that I
That's
don't
a
want
good
to like spoil too much with like the sequel stuff, but the way that it works in this novel is the zombies are a very sudden like introduction. There's no real time for them to plan and prepare and think about how they want to like fight things off. So like literally it is the zombies show up like, well, this is an army that was going to fight the French. Instead now it's going to go and fight the zombies. So we're literally only able to use what we have on hand at the moment. For future pieces, there will be considerations is on like, hey, here's our standard drill and our standard tools. What maybe do we want to change and add in to make this easier for ourselves? And it is noteworthy as well that in this big final battle, the Battle of Stolum, there are a lot of other tools that are being used because one, they're using literally everything they can get their hands on, and two, because they realize, well, this is a different kind of combat. So you have, instead of pioneers, who are sort of like proto-army engineers, rather than going into battle with muskets like they normally would, they're like, well, I'm going to bring in my giant, like, carpenter's axe for this, because this axe is probably going to be more useful once the enemies reach our lines. You have men going in with like shovels in, and like, you know, when the enemy gets close, they'll drop the musket and the bayonet, they'll take up a shovel and use that instead, because if you're trying to like cleave and cut, those sorts of tools are a lot more useful than a singular bayonet could be. Kind of like Guts and Black Powder. Yeah, a little bit.
You're actually the first person to make that comparison, silly Dan.
In this live stream, yes.
Yes. Alrighty. Whoops. That looks pretty sick.
Yeah.
All right. Let's come up with. I'm thinking maybe an officer over here, like around here-ish or so, like with his hand, like motioning guys to come along, which will draw the reader's eyes to follow his expression back to the pioneers coming up over the hill.
Okay, so I
Just a
like the
thought.
idea, yes, of having like an officer cheering people on or whatever, but I part of me also really wants to see a pioneer, also like with the bearskin and everything, bringing a heavy carpenter's axe just like right through the skull of a zombie.
Okay. I was actually thinking I could put a pioneer here, axe is raised up, and then coming like he's preparing to come down on this one. And then we get, I mean, we could totally have a guy over here cleaving through, like just full on.
Yeah.
How many guys with
I
axes would
think
they
that
have?
the gore factor would be very would be pretty good, I think.
Oh yeah, and instead of
We don't
cleaving
have
its
to
head
like
off,
we
it
don't have
could
to color it on live stream, but for
right.
future.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool, like if he's coming in like where the shoulder meets the neck, and he's just cleaving like down through the body. That would be so badass.
Yeah. So here let me read where it is in the book here. I have the chapter pulled up.
Ooh, guys,
Um
the book is being read by the author. You're getting a real
oh
treat
boy.
tonight.
I just found the guy that I want to use as a narrator for my audiobook too.
Oh,
I just
sick.
shot him an email with an offer today, so we'll see how it goes.
I swear, a third of the comments you
Um
get on that book are asking if you're gonna do an audiobook version,
Yep. Yeah, for
which
sure.
is awesome. I mean,
I'll probably post like the first three chapters of it for free on YouTube, of like what the audiobook sounds like.
yeah, that'd be cool.
Okay, here we are. Thus, like mad Viking berserkers more so than British soldiers, these men came with axes, picks, shovels, hangers, and every manner of crude spear one might imagine. They did not shirk from their grisly task, but at once joined the brave grenadiers in dismembering the devils. I observed one pioneer give a great cry as he heaved up his axe to bring it squarely upon the head of an oncoming devil. It was split to the breast as though it were firewood. Another man, seemingly a mere farmer, wielded his pick like a billhook and dropped it about a creature's neck to thwart its pouncing upon an artilleryman, who in turn spun about to bash its teeth with a spiking hammer.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Hell
so there's
yeah.
a lot
That
of
flowed very
gruesomeness
well
going on.
too. But like the way you just read that, there was a very good flow you had going.
Oh, well, thank you.
Oh, you're
Of
very
course,
welcome.
it helps when I wrote it in the way that I would otherwise speak, so it kind of works
Yeah,
out that
yeah,
way.
yeah.
I have an easy time of stumbling on my words. Someone asked in the chat, do the zombies act like necromorphs from Dead Space, or they only stop when
That
their locomotion is completely gone? Yeah, someone left a comment actually earlier today or yesterday asking the same thing. Maybe they're the same people, but yeah, that's actually like a really good comparison, which I had not considered beforehand. But yeah, they're very necromorph in a lot of ways.
did you play Dead Space?
I love Dead Space. I haven't played the second or the third games. I have them, and I want to do it on live stream. I'm
That'd
just
be cool.
waiting on a new computer to show up because, as we experienced earlier, this one basically has just stopped connecting to the internet no matter what I do.
Ah, it's so funny. You told me like some of your favorite music is like metal music, and you really like Dead Space. You see your
Yeah.
your public face, and it's like, wow, I can't imagine this guy, being into this stuff. But you know,
Yeah.
um,
I'm a whole person.
we have lives outside of the computer screen.
Yeah, my music playlists go from like Gregorian chanting to the longest Johns to uh uh like Blind Guardian, for example. It's a wide reach.
Ooh, okay, I've got an idea. So yeah, the axe guy. Um, we can have one guy. Hmm. I think having the axe guy over here that's actually splitting into the undead was a good place
Mhm.
because it offers a lot of detail. And I think on this side, I'm gonna have a guy bringing the axe up like it's about to bring it down.
You know what? Actually, it could be instead of a pioneer on the right, then it could be a civilian with an axe or a shovel. Yeah, have a pioneer on the
Yeah,
left with his axe bringing it down into the skull,
sure.
and then have a civilian with a shovel going to doing the same thing on the
Okay.
right. And then like in the back, we could have, like you said, the officer bringing men on and a great big like another traditional line of like maybe some sort of infantry.
Yeah. You know what's really funny about this book is it's like this is an absolutely like history changing event that is transpiring in Britain. Like this would be something that's remembered for years,
Oh yeah.
given the amount of casualties and
But
whatnot.
it's also very much a thing though that like the British and the rest of the world don't really have a lot of time to react to because the French Revolution is still happening.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like imagine if imagine if like an alien spacecraft came down and a single alien came out, said, no, I don't know, Baba Booey, and then it exploded and died or whatever. That would be like, oh my God, like this is going to change human history. We're all going to obsess over it. Everyone would be talking about it. That would be insane because like literal aliens, right?
Yeah.
But also, what if that was happening during a nuclear exchange with Russia? It's like, okay, but like also the world has much bigger things on its mind right now.
I
So
see what you're
like
saying.
we'll think through the implications of aliens later on, I guess.
Well, what gets me about this is that enough people are killed in this event to warrant a wave of flesh.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like this would set up for an awesome like alt history like world, you know?
Yeah, I think the way that I'm planning on doing it, right, is that I'm going to have like a series of smaller one-off novels that are sort of roughly based around like the same time period and setting as this, like individual people dealing with individual things in like other times and places, but sort of like one-off stories.
Yeah.
But like for example, I want to have one that's set on a ship, right? Like a Royal Navy ship is cruising around like the North Sea or whatever, and also I'm like, hey, there's a body floating in the water. Oh my God, like help him, go get him. Um, but then like the body comes to life and it attacks them. Ah, what are we gonna do? We're on a ship. How are we gonna deal with this? Like that's a good opportunity for a story right there. But what I want to do for like the big sequel is rather than it being the Corpse War of 1793, it's going to be the Great Corpse War. And it's going to be like
Oh.
what happened, and it's going to be like World War Z, where it's a full-on like history of what happens after the fact. That'll be a much, much bigger production, but that's the distant future for like what I hope to accomplish with this world.
I'm here for it. And when you say the Great Corpse War, like time period setting, are you thinking like World War One or?
Oh no, so that's going to be so all right, so getting a little bit more into spoilers, right? But
Oh,
the
I'm
entire
sorry.
idea, right, is that after no, it's fine. If anyone doesn't want a spoiler, they can I don't know, just mute for like the next 5 minutes and then it'll be done by then.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
long story short is after the Battle of Stolham, a lot of like body parts are just sort of hanging around and a lot of people are taking them back as like souvenirs.
Oh
So there's a
no.
lot of like
Oh no.
zombie bits floating around and that leaves a lot of danger. The zombies aren't really much of a threat. They're not really much of a thing. They sort of go away until around, oh, I don't know, around like 1814, which is when Napoleon was defeated in Russia.
Oh. Okay.
All of the armies of Europe are all in Paris at once, right? When like Napoleon is abdicating for the first time, right?
Yeah.
And oh, wouldn't it be crazy if all of the armies in Europe are all in one central place at one big time, one of the biggest cities in Europe, and then there's another zombie outbreak?
Oh my.
Oh no, wouldn't that be a real shame? So that's the idea for the Great Corpse War.
I see. Okay. Well, that sounds lovely.
I feel like something's going on with this guy's arms, like
Yeah, yeah, I'm trying
not
to point that
jiving.
out.
Maybe it would be better to have the shovel be like a little lower down. Like instead of him having two arms like what the grenadier has, instead he has like two hands are sort of in the same place. No, that would be similar to the axe. I'm trying to think of like how it can be varied up from the other poses. Maybe have both of them. No.
Hmm.
How would one use a shovel? Yeah, they just bring it down like an axe, basically.
Yeah, yeah. I could. Hmm. Maybe I'll just give him a brick.
I don't think he'd be running into the battle with a brick. Man,
Yeah.
Maybe I wonder if maybe better to not have the civilian because it'd be a little bit too busy
Okay.
then. We can instead have like an officer slightly behind on that stage.
Okay.
Oh, or you know what? Maybe okay. How about this? What if we took the grenadier and the zombie that he's attacking, made them larger, brought them into the further like right-hand side, right?
Okay. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Then we have more of an open canvas stretching to the
To the
left from
left.
there. And that's where we can have like civilians maybe like pinning down like a bunch of civilians are pinning down a zombie together. We have the pioneer bringing the axe down. Like the civilians can be smaller because people don't care about them as much, right?
Right, right. Everybody wants the cool military guys.
Yeah.
Um, Civvy sketch. So let's do a separate one for Axeman. All right, and I'm gonna get rid of.
And you know what I'm thinking as well? Like, I love the idea of having the grenadier with the central zombie, and like we can make it really gnarly and like take that as its own image, put a bunch of smoke and fire behind it and everything.
Oh
That
yeah,
could be like a t-shirt design right there. That could be its own design, I
that would
think,
go
really
so
easily.
hard. All right, so we want the axe to be actually penetrating into the zombie, and it's gonna end up being very, very
Oh yeah,
lovely.
its head is like clean on down, like split down the middle.
Oh hell yeah, okay. So I'm wondering, should it be like a side profile thing, or are we thinking like he's facing this way, or something more like this way?
I th hmm. I
Because
think making it the latter, but having him be smaller and more in the distance.
okay,
Like
so
not
the
crazy in the
zombie.
distance, but like just a bit smaller than like the central than the grenadier and his target.
Okay, so the zombie would have gotten past this guy, and then
Or yeah, there's it's slightly past him.
okay, okay, okay. I think I see. I'm envisioning it, man.
So like yeah, like it's we're not standing directly parallel to like the infantry coming on, but rather we're standing off to the right and we're looking down the ranks as they're like rushing in, if that makes
Okay,
sense.
yeah, I totally get it.
It's like take a block in front of you and
Yep.
then turn
Axe
it to
guy
where so
here,
the
other
right is
guy
coming
here.
closer. Yeah, and the left is going further away from you.
Okay,
That gives us like a really nice field of vision to have a lot of stuff going on.
I gotcha. All right, I'm gonna put this zombie in a gnarly pose as he's sprinting up, and I can resize this and reposition it as needed. I'm just,
Yeah,
you know, you know the
that's the beauty of the digital artwork.
yes.
I will be right back really quickly,
Okay.
and so it's your stream now. I don't know. That's it. It already is your stream.
Yes, it
So
is.
tell them about I don't know something stupid like I was. I'll be right back.
Okay. I don't know. I've been working on something big that I'm gonna announce here pretty soon. Maybe I'll announce it tonight. I don't know. We'll see where the night carries us. Um. So how y'all doing? You know, I didn't erase the shovel guy completely. I just turned the layer off because I might use him for something else, or I might repose him and whatnot. But Ooh, Brian Marco. That's a very good question for Brandon. When he gets back, I will bring that up to him. All right, I'm just trying to. Dang, this zombie's caked up. All right, he's gonna be reaching out like that. Here's his head, and there's gonna be an axe right in it. Just. Yeah, his claw reaching out. Like putting an axe through a piece of watermelon. Actually, that should be at a little bit of an angle because he's going to be co-altitude with him. Yeah. Actually, it should be even more of an angle because like his hands would be down like over his pelvic area. And this hand should be out here. So, yeah, more like that, even. I'm going to draw the guy first. Here's one hand, here's two hands. There's that, there's that. Although, I gotta look up some references here. Art's hard. Hey, Trevin, dude, thanks for the membership for 7 months, man. It's been a long time. Appreciate that, man. Fun fact: shirt collars like on these old uniforms are originally developed to protect the neck from armored plate rubbing in. Oh, that does make a lot of sense. Yeah, prevent armored plates from rubbing on your neck. That's really cool. If you bring an axe down, you gotta have some muscles going here. So I'm just trying to think how I want to draw his arms. Because like yeah, he can be like that, but it looks like he just kind of walked into him. Oh, you know what? I know what
And
it
I
is.
return.
Hello, welcome back.
I like the framing there already with the devil just like throwing himself forwards.
Oh, thank you. I'm just trying to get the guy's arm right, and I realized just now, I had an epiphany. The arm shouldn't be bending if he's bringing it down like this. It should be straight. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right, here's his other arm coming up like that. This dude's yoked. Alrighty. And non-dominant leg forward, dominant leg back. Go like that, roughly. That.
Someone asking in the chat, how fast would a bitten human turn? Maybe it'd be cool to have a zombie grenadier. So the thing about the devils is it's not an infection that's spread through bites, but rather as soon as you are killed by one of the devils, that's what they're called in the book, that's when you turn. So like absolutely, like some of the corpses when we go through and like add designs to them, like some of them should look like civilians, some of them should be in military uniform because they were very recently converted, you might say.
Converted. Um, and we also did have a question. Brian Marco asked, do you have other concepts featuring other creatures? Many years ago, he planned to write a werewolf story set in the Revolutionary War and a banshee story during the 9 Years' War. So, are the devils going to remain consistent, I guess, is what's being asked.
So no, I want the Corpse War like series to be very specific to its time period. I don't think, for example, if I do like the Great Corpse War as a second book, where like this story doesn't have to necessarily interrupt like most of the big course of human events, like with how it is proceeding, if that because it's a very small contained event. But if I have, as opposed to a middle of nowhere town in Norfolk, England, if I have Paris like fall to the zombies, that's going to be a very that's a world-changing event, like you said. You know, that changes a lot. And so the further I get away from like these events, the more and more that global history changes, and the less I feel. Honestly, I'm just like I'm not very interested in doing that sort of thing. I always think that horror stories are most interesting and most compelling when it features relatable experiences going up against the inherently unrelatable. When it's like, you know, average everyday just British soldiers of this time period having to deal with this otherworldly horror, right? Something that is inherently like unknowable to them. Whereas if I time skip like, you know, 100 years and it's like, oh, now it's like a World War I setting, but we know how to fight the zombies and we have all these special tools for like I've kind of lost interest now. I want it to be something new and horrifying, and we have no idea what we're doing against these things. I don't want it to be like, oh yeah, we've developed, you know, the anti-corpse infantry vehicle that mows them down. It's like, I mean, that's just a fantasy story at that point. It's not really like historical fantasy, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So I want the Corpse War to be very contained in its time period. However, I have a lot, absolutely, of other stories planned for other time periods with other baddies, with other settings. In fact, the next one that I want to do that isn't Corpse War related, I want to have it be set in the Siege of Fort Lawrence, which is a small, very, very small engagement on the frontier in Ohio during the American War of Independence. Um, During the Siege of Fort Lawrence, it's like there's something in the woods that's like messing with these guys that are wintering over in this fort, and they're like running out of supplies and they're starving to death. There are like native raids happening in the woods, and the British are helping the natives, but you know, maybe there's something in the woods messing with them too. I don't have to get too much into it, but yeah, like there's a lot of other story ideas, and I don't think that it'll be, you know, necessarily quite so popular if I do something that isn't having to do with zombies, because zombies is a very like easy and compelling thing to, you know, to explain the Corpse War story. It's, hey, it's zombies in the 18th century. Okay, cool, done. People know what they're going to get into. Really easy avenue for like sales. Whereas if I have to explain this like slightly more obscure kind of monster tale, you know, it gets more complicated. But yeah, there are a lot of other story ideas.
Brandon's full of ideas, guys. Like
Oh,
I'm
yes, I am.
he's running an RPG that is just a fantastic world that he's built. I mean, you should talk about that too, because
We
that
have
could be
to,
its own.
yeah, we have to get back into that sometime. It's
Oh,
been a
I
long
know.
time since
It's
we've done
very
so.
fun.
Um, Maybe next week at some point. But
Yeah.
yeah, that would give me enough time to prep a session for it as well. Yeah, the long story short of this, like TTRPG that we've been playing, Kyle and I, and then a couple of our other friends, it's basically like like early Victorian whaling, but in the sky with like steampunky skyships type thing. It's more fantastical than I normally go in for, but yeah, they're like flying boats and they're hunting sky whales for that sweet, sweet oil. And if you fall down into the sky, it's just like, you know, it's all like very, very thick clouds underneath like this basic layer that effectively forms their sea, quote unquote. And the further you go down, the more like madness-inducing it is. It's like a drug basically that you're breathing in the further down you go, and there's weird, chaotic things in the deep that shall not be named, and all that fun stuff. It's a little Lovecraftian in that way. I'm a big fan of Lovecraft.
Yeah. I couldn't have guessed. It almost seems like almost like an interdimensional thing, like that the quote unquote confusion, the sea. It's almost like a dimensional plane that just doesn't make sense to those who fall into it.
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't operate under quite the same rules as everything else does.
Yeah. All right, how you feeling about this guy?
I think that's looking pretty good.
Should he have his apron?
Yeah, bayonet. I don't actually know. It's a little vague with pioneers is the thing.
Yeah.
Let's do a rain check on that. I'll see if I can do
Okay.
some
Okay.
research.
So for context, people who may not know because I didn't know this for a while. Uh, Pioneers back then wore aprons supposedly. Well, not back then per se because we're still working on that, but as far as like the mid 19th century, you'd see like the grenadier guards marching. You know, most guys would have rifles and everything, and then you'd see a guy wearing an apron and holding a big axe in his hand. And I don't know when they started wearing the apron. It's still kind of used as a ceremonial thing, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know if this is the real reason that they would have worn the aprons, but apparently they were responsible for like lopping horses' legs off or whatever after they died. Is that does that sound?
Oh, so that's not the pioneers. Those are the farriers who would do
Oh,
that.
okay, okay.
But no, but pioneers did also have aprons. I'm gonna guess that there's some like probably some similar causes for it. Just because I think they're just because they're like doing regular fatigue duties. They're out there getting themselves, dirty and rough and everything. And if you don't want to dirty your uniform, you have to have something over top of
Yeah,
it. So, see, like I'm seeing like modern portrayals of like Victorian pioneers with the aprons. I'm not seeing anything like 1790s and actually contemporary to the times, which is what makes it difficult. Because like there's a lot of Victorianisms that like sneak into this time period if you're
yeah,
not careful about it.
yeah.
And like facial hair is one of those things. A lot of like modern portrayals will show these guys with way more facial hair than they should have. Um, let's just skip over that for now, and like it should be fairly easy to add an apron on later on if we want to. But what I'm thinking is honestly it makes sense in this particular context for them to not have it because they're going
Right.
into battle and like they know they're going to be in a physical fight and they want to like keep themselves a little bit more loose and not give the enemy something to
Yeah, it
like
makes
grab
sense.
onto.
Yeah,
So we can just say that the grenadier or the pioneers, if they had them, well, they left their aprons behind for this particular engagement.
sure. Why not? All right. Now, as far as the positioning of this guy goes, do we want to have the officer in between him and the guy bayoneting?
I think if yeah, we could maybe have an officer like so long as he's sort of yeah that gives a little bit more space.
Yeah.
Maybe he like has the sword behind himself as he's like twirling it forward and gesturing behind him, so that way we're not having him go over top of the pioneer. Let me actually get you a good example of what I mean for that. In the death of Major Pearson, one of the best pieces, we have yeah, here we go, here we go.
I just wrote office. Officer. Kevin about to yay.
So if you get a load of the officer in the front there, how he's sort of like pointing to a few men, telling like, "Hey, you
Oh
guys,
yeah,
like
yeah,
come with
yeah.
me," and he's twirling his sword around, and it's angled in such a perfect way that we could probably have him appear to be more in the back, even though he's more or less on a level with all the other guys.
Yeah. So he'd be pointing the sword this way out towards the battle, right? No. He'd be facing backwards then.
Yeah, it's like he's running forward, but he's facing backwards because he's like looking to guys behind him and saying,
Oh.
"Go, come on, come on with me, go, go, go."
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's see if I can whip up a pose here. Yeah,
Not gonna lie, the description gave me Ravenous vibes. Can't wait for Rose. That sounds familiar to me. I'm not sure if I'm familiar with that.
isn't Ravenous the it's the movie Andy likes, the cannibal
Oh
the
yeah,
Mexican American
I
war
haven't
guy
actually seen
who
that one yet.
I have not either.
Yeah, that's why it sounded familiar. There are two films called Ravenous. There's like yeah, the Civil War cannibal guys, which apparently is really good, but I've not seen that one. Another one is actually a Quebec, yeah, Quebecois zombie movie that I really love.
All right, his finger would be out this way. He's pointing forward, and then sword out maybe like that.
Ooh, you know what? Right
Yeah.
behind that officer, there can be another one with a set of colors. We can have a
Oh, that'd be
glorious, massive
sick.
banner getting charged
That
forward.
would be so cool.
Yeah, I'll give you the whole portrait of, or the whole painting of the death of Major Pearson to get a look at that.
Yeah, please.
If shortly behind that officer and the grenadier and everything, you had like two ensigns rushing forward with the colors, and then all alongside them just a bunch of grenadiers. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's gonna look pretty sharp. Okay, I see what we're doing here.
Careful with that word now, but yes.
Sharp without an E. Wait,
Okay,
did
good,
his
good,
name
good,
have?
good. Yeah, it has an E.
Okay, okay.
The novels, as I understand it, are much better. Just the show is like 50-50. It's not
Yeah,
bad. It's
yeah,
just it has its moments, like I said before.
yeah.
My big thing is, hey, don't fillet a gun barrel. Not a good idea.
No, that's just dangerous.
Especially when you're actively loading it. That's just not a good idea.
Forward man.
Oh, it's the Mexican-American War, not the Civil War. Okay. Oh, that actually makes it more interesting. That sounds like a really unique and setting for it. I have to watch that one. Ravenous. Loki had an idea where an infected officer has a saber gripped in his hand still while stumbling toward the line. Yeah, I think if we can include like some good scene of an infected soldier, like not infected, but a corrupted, we might say, soldier, like
Yeah,
maybe rising up after having been killed, that could be pretty good.
that might be
We'll
pretty
have to see if
sweet.
there's room for it though.
Okay, like that.
If you can take his torso and just sort of like pivot it to the right, to the left a little bit rather. Right now, it kind of looks
Like
like
this.
he's a sassy.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he looks a little sassy. You know, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like take it and yeah, just twist it over a little bit. Yeah, more
Give
like
it more of like
forward
a
momentum as
forward.
opposed to
Yeah,
a fancy dance move.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that's better.
yeah. That is yes. Yeah. All right.
Like that one portrait. There's one of my favorites is a sketch of like a recruiting sergeant, recruiting party rather in the Napoleonic era, and you have the one like one officer with a hat on top of his sword, and he's sort of like at a funny angle, and he's pointing to some of the recruits, and he's like, "Come on, boys, let's go and get drinks, and I'll enlist
Yeah,
you in the army." And everyone's like partying and they're drinking and they're following along with him. They're having a great time.
yeah. There
Only
was
one belt for an officer.
Oh, my mistake. My mistake.
Yeah, he doesn't have a cartridge pouch, so just
Right.
the one on the over the left. No, it over the right shoulder, going to the left side for him.
For the right shoulder, go to. Okay, so this way.
Yes.
Okay, so technically he's holding a sword with his wrong hand, but that's
He can be left-handed. That's all
yeah.
right.
All right. Okay, there's a sword dragger on there. There we go. Did they have sword draggers
I feel
yet?
like grape shot would be. Like a little bit at the tip of the scabbard.
Yeah, yeah, like a little reinforcement.
I, yeah, I believe so.
Okay. I hope so,
Saying
because
I
that's how I've
one
been
person
drawing
saying
them.
I feel like yeah, I feel like grape shot would be highly useful in this scenario.
Yes.
Very much so. Absolutely. Maybe later on, Kyle, you can show the picture that you did with the charcoal sketch
Oh yeah.
the cannon firing like directly into the oncoming mob,
Oh yeah,
because that's a pretty good one.
that was a fun one. There's a lot of ultra violence in it. You know what? I'll curl it down like yay. something I noticed about drawing this time period is I'm a reenactor too. I do pretty much every era in the 20th century, and I do some 19th century stuff. I find it easier to draw how clothing sits on a body having worn it.
Yeah.
And this,
Yeah, that makes sense.
and it just takes a little getting used to when doing an era like this that I'm just not used to. Like, I don't know what the weights are like. Uh, you know, I can't
Mhm.
imagine it's too different from Victorian, but you've got different kinds
No,
of
it's
layers
not.
and
It's heavy wool, but yeah, it's I think it's more a matter of how the layering sits atop everything.
yeah,
Oh, if you could have his coat actually closed a little, like just underneath where the shirt ruffles,
yeah,
the coat should be, yeah, like
gotcha.
touching basically.
Okay,
There you go.
okay, easy. Okay, just have it come around like that. There we go. What kind of buttons would they have? Probably just brass buttons, right?
Yeah, like gold plated or silver plated. It
Yeah.
depends on the regiment, if it's either silver or gold, but
Okay.
yeah, it's very simple. Some regiments had buttons in pairs, sometimes they were in threes or ones. However.
Yeah. This is just a very basic do up of his hair, unless you want me to have the bearskin on.
No, actually, I think that's nice. It adds a little bit of variety.
Okay. And then the colors will be back. Hold on a second. Let me just. What am I doing? I can probably even move him over a little bit. Like here.
Someone asked what sort of years it's meant to be. Yeah, 1793 specifically. Do I have any idea for other creatures or stories like vampires or werewolves? Many other creatures, yes. Although I don't know if I'm ever going to do something that's like so like already a thing as vampires or werewolves. Like I always want to have like a bit of a unique spin on it. That being said, taking inspiration from stories like the Beast of Gévaudan would like be a really good opportunity because if you're not familiar, anyone, it basically is as close as you can get to like a real life werewolf story in 18th century France.
That's cool.
Basically, just like a series of wolf attacks that a lot of people ascribed to like one super large creature. And like it got so crazy. Like the king actually sent the army in to hunt down this super wolf that people thought was terrorizing the countryside. Um,
That would
it's a
be
really interesting
so
story.
cool.
Yeah, so like having something like similar to that would be pretty interesting, I think. Like there's something in the woods that's, prowling around and attacking people and the army goes in to try and take care of it and as it turns out it's actually real and blah blah blah,
I
stuff
mean,
like that.
Brandon,
Yeah, like the Beast of Javadan is a very interesting real life tale.
you could do like a terror historical fiction on that.
Yeah. Yeah, basically like the it's basically a real life equivalent of the Terror.
Yeah.
I was actually just reading that a little earlier today.
But I mean, like, you could take that story and like make like a terror style adaptation where it's
Yeah.
very much based on the real people, and yeah, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think that'd be really fun actually. Jersey Devil, yeah, fun fact actually, did you all know that one of the very first like or no, maybe it's not the Jersey. No, it is Jersey Devil. Unless it's Mothman. It's either Jersey Devil or Mothman. I'm pretty sure it's Jersey Devil. One of the first like witnesses and accounts of that is I think it's Joseph Bonaparte, one of Napoleon's brothers.
Really?
I'm pretty sure it's Joseph Bonaparte. Yeah, because after the Napoleonic Wars, he went over to America for exile, and he basically formed like this little francophone society, this like francophile society in like the middle in like middle so they're not the middle colonies by this point, but like the New Jersey, New York kind of area, Pennsylvania area.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And supposedly at one point he was like just wandering through a field at night and he swears that he saw this like creature that they refer to as the Jersey Devil. Now that I don't know if that's actually true or not. It sort of enters that weird territory of history that like a lot of people talk about it, but not a lot of people have citations for it. and the citations that are there are like a little bit maybe too Victorian for comfort. Historians will know what I mean by that. But yeah, it's a fun story at least. I like to think that it's true.
I mean, weirder things have happened.
Yeah, to be sure. Will there be anything involving something like a 6-pounder field gun? Oh yeah, a lot of
Oh
field
boy.
guns. Most of the artillery present at in the picture you mean. I don't know. The artillery is kind of ahead of where they are at this point, so I'm not sure. But there are larger artillery pieces on the bastions that are all behind these guys, so like maybe there'll be space for it, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Okay, and
In the Battle of Stolen, there's a lot of artillery action.
I have one color here, the other one here. So I'm thinking these will be the regimental colors because I can actually hide them better. Because we never really did a really detailed
Yeah.
design. So
Like they're not a specific regiment really. It's all very general.
yeah, and then you've got the British flag over here, like in full view, like silhouetting this guy. This is honestly an awesome propaganda piece.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, yes, we'll do that. All right, the guy here. Let me hide the officer so I can sketch the dude. Oh, whoops.
Let's be real. They're really drunk and really drunk and saw a large bird. I mean, yeah, probably. Like most cryptid sightings, there's more of gravy than the grave to them.
You mean to tell
To
me
quote
that that the cryptozoologist who uh tried to get me to join his club wasn't real? Like you tell me he's wrong?
well, no, that one was legit. That guy was legit.
Oh, okay, okay.
What's the story behind that?
Oh, I was just making something up.
Oh, okay.
I was making a joke at the expense of cryptozoologists.
Oh, it's a whole. One of my friends and I, or a few of friends of mine. Some of my friends and I, right? One of our favorite things to do if we're just like, we're just like bored and looking for something to do on Discord late at night. We'll pull up the like don't watch this alone, quote unquote scary videos on YouTube of like paranormal stuff happening. And they're always so bad. It's always so silly, and we get such a kick out of it. It's like, the way that he always like ends the video and whatnot is he's like, Was this experience true or not? It's up to you to decide." It's like, no, it's not. It's not. This
no
is
way.
dumb. Get out of here. Like
Number
it is a
15.
fishing line that it's like a door opened at night, like from the wind or something. It's like that's not whatever. Don't need to get into it. It's a whole rant. It's a whole ramble. I literally have a video from like years ago about why I think ghost tours are like super disrespectful to real history when they're done at like historic sites and such.
Oh yeah.
It's a whole thing.
See,
But you know what? Big Thing in a Woods is definitely a fun setting for a horror story, so I do plan on using that.
and I know it's like super disrespectful and whatnot, but like these museums do make a shit ton of money doing some of those ghost tours.
Yeah.
I
I think that what I would say is there's a way that you can do it that's like fun for Halloween, but also respectful, I think. Um, the
yeah,
big thing is, are you telling a ghost story as if it's real, or are you like recounting a story in a way that is authentic to the time period, is like spooky in nature, but is ultimately respectful of the fact that like, for example, like people suffered and died at a particular space, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I once, for example, I once went on like there was a historic property, right, in Salem where they were doing It was like a Halloween event where it was basically like an interactive play. All of the actors and performers were like sitting like standing all amongst us like it was a party and we were all like guests at this house party and they were chatting with us and small talk and they were all in character and going through improv type stuff. But the entire conceit was, hey, we're all there for a Victorian style seance. And the thing about Victorian seances is like they were very real and like people were convinced that it was like real stuff, you know, like that was
Right.
really big in that time period. And the way that they sort of played it in the performance is like there was an easy explanation for it being fake, but there was also like a lot of people, the actors were like convinced it was real for this, that, and the other reason. And so it was sort of like, oh, well, I guess it's up to you to decide whether you think it was real or not.
Okay.
But it's like it was a horror experience, right? It was a horror play in a historic home. Everyone's in costume and everything, but it was very respectful to the historic environment in that it was portraying this thing as these people would have experienced it, right? It wasn't
Yeah.
like hokey saying, "Oh, there's a real ghost here right now with all of us because you know this woman was murdered by her husband in the 1820s." Like, no, it was a fictional environment, it's a fictional setting, but to show off a very real experience that people used to have. And that was really cool,
That
I
is
think.
cool.
I love stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I can get behind that stuff. And like, if it's benefiting a historical site that, doesn't get a lot of
Yeah.
funding, I have no problem with it. So,
It's all in how you do it.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's you can be exploitative or you can be respectful of the past. And there's a lot of different ways that those sorts of things can play out,
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. So I got one of the guys with the colors drawn. I'm going to have another guy here. I don't even know what I'm doing. Hold on. My brain is just like I said, it's been a day.
Maybe for this one, it's also a good excuse to like show off a little bit less of the colors or something. Instead of having him just like have the colors in the belt, we can have him sort of like thrusting them forward, like, come on, like this way, follow after me, kind of thing. Like have them like leaning forward a bit more.
Oh, like this guy here,
Oh,
or
and you know what? Like so the guy in the middle there, yeah, I like his pose, right? He's just sort of
yeah.
advancing stoically in the right way. The other officer can be behind like the grenadier there, as you had him before.
Yeah.
He's sort of like leaning the colors forward and like pushing them up as if like charging in, right, with them actively. That would allow us then to have that first set of colors sort of obscuring even like the second set there. Like the one that you're moving around right now,
Yeah,
that could be
yeah.
the regimental colors, and then the other one could be the British flag, which would also then conveniently be like directly behind
Oh, it'd be right around
both
here
of those boys. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So you wouldn't even
And if
really
it's
see
too
the guy
busy,
holding
we
it.
can always move him back.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't see. I don't know how you would see that guy himself, or at least
Yeah, so have it be like he is sort of like half on screen, half off screen, coming from the right, thrusting the colors forward, like a little bit further back at the same. No, it might be getting too complicated.
I mean, I'll see what I can do with it here. Let's see here. Colors two. All right. Let me see. Maybe he's like mid stumble and he's getting up, or like not that he fell, but like he tripped and he's like bracing himself and like. Let me show what I mean here.
Yeah, at least he's got to have like forward momentum one way
Yeah,
or the other,
yeah.
to be sure.
Ooh, although we can make a statement. Maybe he did fall to a knee and he's bringing himself back up, but he's got his like other hand on the pole, keeping the colors up. I don't know. There's a lot of this. Isn't like a regular battlefield. This is like all chewed up and covered in
Yeah.
body parts, so he'd be like getting his ankles caught in like intestines and stuff, and I don't know if I want to go that detailed or not. It's a cool
I'm trying to
idea
think of
though.
like, yeah, like what's the most like, I don't know. I really like like the framing and everything of the guy in the back there because it'll allow us to have the colors like just behind them without like overwhelm. Maybe even we should have the colors just have the other set of colors like to his right to our left of the other ensign and have it be more in the
Oh,
distance.
like have it out here?
How do you feel about that? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with it. Yeah, no, I think that'd be
Just to like
good.
make it a little bit less busy in the,
Yeah,
and then we can move the grenadier, the bayoneting guy a little bit more to the right. We can space the officer a bit more
yeah,
and just like have a little bit more room for everything to breathe as far as like these main details go.
yeah.
Mayhaps.
It almost, it almost kind of like funnels your vision to go to the British flag in the background here.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let's do that. And he can be kind of like starting to get obscured by smoke and whatnot, and
Yeah, I'm thinking like when all this is done, we're gonna like put a massive smoke effect over like a lot of it,
oh yeah, it's gonna look so cool.
make it look all fiery and difficult to make out what's exactly going on, etc., etc.
Yeah, it's gonna look like it's in hell.
A Corpse War mod would low key be fire for Total War Empire or something. I really want to have someone do a mod for Master of Command. I think that that would be a really cool, really fun like setup for it.
Where's X-Men?
I don't know any good modders though. I need to reach out to some people about that at some point.
That would be a really sweet conversion. The official Brandon F mod for Napoleon Total War.
Yeah.
You know, I have that game and I've been wanting to play it, but I kind of want to play it with somebody to like get an idea of how it. I don't
Yeah,
know.
we can do a live stream of it at some point. There are
Sure.
like there are competitive multiplayer campaigns that you can do.
Oh
That could be a fun
wow.
time.
Okay. Okay.
There's like you can play as like the French in North Africa, for example, in Egypt rather.
That's pretty neat.
The irony of getting an ad for generative AI on the stream, someone says, "Oof."
Oof. That is that's a negative Ghost
Unfortunate.
Rider.
Modding Holdfast to have zombies would be fun too, I think. Oh, that would be really cool. Get a zombie mode on Holdfast. That would be Corpse War sponsored or whatever. I would love to do that. See, this is why I need millions of dollars, people. The possibilities that we could have.
You give me more work.
I could. I could give you a lot. I could put you on a full-time a retainer or whatever as an
Yeah, yeah.
artist. That'd be fantastic. So if there are any, like rich oil baron, people out there, I mean, hi,
Hello.
reach out. Not to him, to me. It's very important that you reach out to me.
Reach out to us and we'll all talk.
I'll be equitable. Don't worry.
You know, if that happens though, like if I received a metric like crap load of money, I would start my own like history network. Like I
Yeah.
don't know if I would do it through
Yeah.
YouTube
Oh,
or like
I have all sorts of lottery dreams. I just don't play the lottery.
yeah, yeah. I'll just do a scratch off here and there, you know. Look, I'm living in like the
I think
periphery of
maybe.
nowhere in like Western New York, okay? Like it is kind of my God-given task and duty to get scratch offs every now and then.
It's part of the culture out
Yeah,
that way.
yeah, exactly.
I'd say is if you can bring the leg that's sort of like up in the air just
Yes.
down a little bit more.
Yeah. Like thereabouts.
I still feel like it's a little like too flared out, you know?
Okay.
Like you want it to be more just like a natural run. Like his toes are like still touching the ground. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Okay.
That's good, I think.
Yeah. So they're not like a dead sprint. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I need to get hold fast at some point.
It's a fun little game. It's
Yeah.
very silly.
Yeah. Yeah. That does seem like the perfect.
Devin in the Discord is a big fan of it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Is that guy? Okay, so we've got that guy in the background. Let's see what it looks like. Let's get an. Okay, officer. He can stay there. X-Man. That's it. Colors 1 in there. Colors 2. And what I'll do. This is a really like not normal way to do this, but I'm gonna layer here. Group that. I'll paint white in here so you can block out the lines and make stuff out properly. There's probably somebody in chat who knows more about art stuff than me who was like, why are you doing it this way? But at least this way you can see.
Well, I don't know anything about it, so it all works out.
Okay. Duplicate him. Not duplicate, but group. Paint some white in behind him for when the time comes that we have stuff behind him coming in. Um, yeah, colors. Why is
We could always put the other ensign just like scale him down a bit and put him closer to the other guy, so that way we can still see both of them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I just want to do my layering here so we can just see what everything looks like without getting it too busy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I trust the process.
And I'm going all in for this one. There's that guy getting clobbered, absolutely clobbered. Um, and then first colors, which is that one. Okay. Real exciting stream, I know, guys, but think of this more as
Well,
like
I
a.
think it's exciting.
Well, thank you, Brandon. I was gonna say, think of this more as like a Bob Ross experience.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting to see a piece like, slowly coming together. And you know what you can do after this is take this whole stream, just shave it down, compress it to like 10 minutes or whatever, and have it be a time lapse type thing.
Yeah, that's a really cool idea.
I think that you should do that like for like a lot more regularly for all sorts of like regular artwork that you
Oh, well,
do.
thank you.
Have someone on be like the first person to come in as a chatter like, hey, what am I doing as like a drawing? They'll give you the idea, and then you just off you go as like a simple sketch
Yeah,
type
just
thing.
go to town with it.
You have a stream, yeah, and then like at the end of the year, you can take all the live streams, take like the hour-long stream or whatever that you do, condense it down into like a couple minutes, and then do a single video that's just going through all of them and talking about like what they were, something like that.
Yeah.
That could be fun.
Yeah, I mean, if my audience, if you guys here who watch my stuff think it's a cool idea, by all means. Okay, so Brandon, this is where we're at right now.
I think that's looking pretty good. I think that the colors aren't like too crazy busy in the background right now. We might want to.
Then I can, maneuver.
I'm
this
wondering
guy
if
around.
like we'll want to move You know, I think that's looking pretty good.
Okay.
The question is then, what would the background be filled in with? I think that we could definitely have like, uh, you know what? In the lower left, that could be where there's just like a completely desecrated, destroyed corpse that's like trying to stand up on like the one arm that it has or something.
Oh yeah,
Um, and then in the background, it could just be like a very smoke-filled, like distant, like line of
that's
infantry
what I
that's
was
like charging
thinking.
in that can barely be seen. We can even maybe make like the ensigns a little bit smaller, so that way they're like with the infantry. But we'll
Okay.
have that be mostly obscured by smoke, to where we don't have to like, because we don't want it to be like a bunch of like heavy detail for them.
Right.
Maybe move the entire image just a smidge over to the right. That'll give us more space on the left, and then there, like to the left, we can show more of the the zombies crashing into more infantrymen or something like that, just to get
Yeah,
more
yeah,
zombie action on the scene as
yeah.
well.
I can actually do that real quick.
Yeah, that would just
Centerpiece.
give
Grab
a
it.
little smidge of extra space.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay, cool.
Because then like we can have it be going off into the distance like far more quickly, and we can show like maybe some of the artillerymen fighting off the like a devil or something. I don't know. I know we need a lot of zombies, right? Not a lot
Yeah,
of gore and misery and horror.
most of which I cannot draw on
Oh,
YouTube,
not on YouTube, but otherwise.
but otherwise, you will all see it eventually.
Oh yes,
All right, and
I'll
then
advertise it.
oh yeah,
I'm no coward. I use all sorts of words that a gentleman in the 21st century should not use when I'm talking about slavery, and describe all sorts of horrifying, gory things and Holocaust videos. And oh yeah, I fear no demonetization. I do fear demonetization. It's just I actually have to make sure to balance out the ones that are very gruesome with the ones that are less so. It's an important part of the job. I fear no demonetization. Oh, that's horrifying.
oh, what I'm drawing here.
Yeah, I love that.
Oh, thank you. And it'll have some stuff trailing out here. History of
Yeah.
everything. Hello. You are working on a network. That's awesome. I guess we should sign up for that. I don't know. Yeah. We'll just. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This is all coming together. This will be a
He's going to help his buddy.
gore leaking out of him. We can have a hand crawling up, gripping the ground.
Ooh, you know what? Like that one person said, have the hand be maybe on the other side so there's more space. Have it be gripping a sword,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
like a fallen sword, like it's an artillery officer or whatever who was killed and like since severed, something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. 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 There we go.
Someone says in the chat, I don't know if this will work, but in the distance, a soldier getting dragged into a whole bunch of corpses while his friend suddenly tries to save him. So, ooh, that would be pretty cool. That could be like maybe something with the artillery scene is a guy like getting overwhelmed by them.
Yeah. Would that be a
And that
separate
actually kind of
thing or?
thematically works because if this is meant to be like kind of sort of a period piece as well, the heroic stuff is happening in the foreground. But when you like really zoom in on those like old school like paintings, there's usually something horrifying happening in the background as well, of like the hell that is war. It's never like the focus, but it's always addressed in some way in those old paintings, I find.
Hmm.
So having yeah, like an artilleryman just like getting completely swamped by just a big pile of bodies could be a good way to like fill in the empty space
Oh
there.
yeah, yeah. Like over here.
Yeah, just and like in the distance, like smaller, and not too much
Yeah.
worry about
Yeah.
like the exact details.
He would
But
almost be
yeah,
like a silhouette in the smoke, and that would look
yeah,
horrifying. That would look
yeah,
horrifying.
yeah.
I'm not even gonna.
Oh, have even like it could be like just barely silhouetted that like one of the
Yep.
zombies is like clamped down on his neck and he's like, screaming and falling back trying to like push him off.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So we'll just I almost want to like I wouldn't even line that. I think I'm just gonna like paint that in like faintly when I'm doing the smoke.
Yeah, yeah, I think that makes
Okay,
sense.
okay. And then the ground is gonna have all kinds of, I guess, impacts from cannon. No, no, this is behind the guns.
Yeah, this is behind the gun. So really, just um muddy and bloody. I mean, it's a
Yeah,
dry, packed field that is being turned into mud by all the stuff happening in front of us right now.
lovely. And then I'll paint a bunch of like less detailed silhouette of guys in the background.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I think
think.
if we can have the silhouettes in the background like coming through the smoke, same thing with like the firing in the background with the ramparts and the artillerymen getting overwhelmed and blah blah blah. Just like fill it in with nondescript just chaos.
Yeah.
This as like the framework of like the core image, I think is really really good. Um
Okay.
and if we take, yeah, taking that like guy with the the grenadier on the far right there, he as like a central figure for other designs would also work really well. Like slap him on a like on a t-shirt
Oh,
or
I'll make
whatever.
sure
You know,
he's
that would
separate.
work really
Yeah,
well.
absolutely. I mean, he could be a character in um another
Yeah,
project of yours.
that's the thing is yeah, the Corpse War 1793 is very much like a soldier who's having a very bad time. He's very sad. He's very melancholic. Having a sequel that's like the same exact event, but from a much more like braggadocious Harry Flashman type character
Oh
could be a
my
lot of
god, that would be awesome. Every Flashman. All right. So what should we? Anything else we should add to the sketch, or do you think I should start go ahead and?
fun. I think yeah, it's like make sure to save all of those layers and whatnot as
Oh
like
yeah, they're all separate.
like save what you have right now as one file before we move on to
Oh
coloration
yeah.
in case we want to like do stuff with assets later on like independently.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, I think moving on to like that coloration and everything would be perfect at this point.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go from there, and I need to figure. I might need to sketch a few more things in that I don't necessarily want to sketch in on YouTube right now.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's we can keep going on the stream if you'd like. We can start wrapping things up here if you'd like. I am at your service.
Okay. Well, I think I'm gonna wrap up for the artwork for now. But
Okay.
is there anything you wanted to discuss about your upcoming projects or anything else, or?
Well, I mean, we can give a brief mention to your upcoming project.
Well, I did mention I'd talk about it tonight, so I'm
Yeah.
I am also writing a book. I mean, I wrote a book that I is now in the editing process, and Brandon is going to go ahead and publish it through Native Oak, and it's gonna be another Native Oak project that you can buy through the website. Still deciding on whether I want to
Are
do
we keeping it vague?
what about what I'm writing.
Yeah.
Oh no, 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 no! I'm just this is unscripted. Yeah, I'm writing a book about. It's gonna be called Fighter Tales. It's gonna be a compilation of like an anthology of different air combat events. Some of them are based off of videos I've done already that have been more fleshed out. Some corrections made if needed. That kind of stuff. Some brand new stories that I haven't covered on the channel. There's gonna be I think we've got about 140 images already in it, photos, paintings, whatnot, and I'm going to be doing some art for it. So, yeah, like I said, going to be sold through Native Oak. I don't know if I'm going to do a Kickstarter or not yet to get pre-orders in. We're going to worry about that later. But yeah, book is coming.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. So far, I'm acting as like editor for it, sort of like going through and helping Kyle with like framing different chapters and whatnot. It's pretty varied. I find because like it goes from like the First World War up until today, even like before the First World War up until today. There's a lot of different kinds of stories to be told, and they all sort of show off like a different element of what it is to be like a fighter pilot or like whatever the equivalent is for the various time periods. I think it's going to be really good. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be very colorful. Yeah, we're excited for it.
It's going to be like crossing 200 years, or yeah, it does go back 200 years. 200 years
Yeah.
of history with Top Gun. Think of it that way.
Is the shipping to Australia going to murder my bum? History of Everything asks. Probably not, because we should be able to get printing in Australia done. Shipping should be fairly straightforward. And look, even if there can't be any printing done in Australia, like if I can't finagle that, we'll make sure you get a
Yeah,
copy.
we'll
Don't
hook you up,
worry.
dude. We've got you.
But it should be fairly affordable to Australia, the same as like most other places.
Good to know. Thanks for answering that for me. All right, well, I think we're going to call it for the night. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for everybody who donated. Um, I think down the road we're going to do another stream on Brandon's channel. I think that was the plan for...
Yes. I am waiting on a new computer to come in the mail, and then I'll actually have a reliable connection.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna do more of like a wider Q&A with the artist kind of thing. It'll be like a big like official launch stream on my channel, but details will follow with that.
Sounds great. You guys have a fantastic rest of your Monday night, and for everybody on the other side of the world, have a great Tuesday. You guys keep it real, and I'll catch you later. And here's the part where I can never find the... There we go. There's the end stream button.
Bye,
I know what I'm doing.
everyone!
Bye!
Bye. All right. Very good. Very good.
All right. Yeah, that was good.